the silicon in your phone, there may be 700 steps involved. And those 700 steps are how the human ingenuity is playing itself out. That 700 steps, somebody had to discover them, somebody had to master them, somebody has to set up the factories, make the machinery, and make them work precisely, and make it cheap, affordable. That's the engineering challenge ultimately, right? And those 700 or 800 steps involving from all the way from sand to the silicon chip. And similarly in steel, if you take raw iron ore, it may only be costing 20-30 rupees per kilogram, 50 rupees per kilogram, something very cheap there. It just pulled out of the earth and refined a little bit. There's purely mud discharge, nearly 0 rupees per kilogram. You can get it anywhere, right? But when you take this out and process it, you add value. Then you add further value. The specialty steel involved, the steel that is used in construction, your reinforcement bar, all that, maybe 80, 90, 100 rupees, 120 rupees, somewhere in that range. But once you come to these kind of steel, we're talking about 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, 2000 rupees per kilogram. That is value addition. And that concept is very important. Prosperity is entirely about what value we are adding over and above what nature gave us. That's the human brain power. Because nature gave us the iron ore, nature gave us silicon. To make it into a chip requires our use of our God-given brains. Nature also gave us brains. We have to use the brain to add that value, right, in the end. So first we have to understand our intelligence before we understand artificial intelligence. So this part, how you add that value, the reason we are not making the rail cutter is you go back to the metallurgy. In the metallurgy we are not actually building all the specialty alloys in India. That's the first problem. Then you go back further, you realize those are the same kind of metallurgy we need for dental instruments. And dental instruments are a lot more expensive than nail cutters. But you need the specialty alloys there. And then you go into more and more specialty, it goes into defense. To have fighter jets, you need alloys. Metallurgy is very critical. So now it comes right straight to national security. To have the fighter jet engine, we need metallurgy. So this is, you see the interconnection. So it starts with the humble question, nail cutter, then you end in fighter jets. So that's how all of this is connected. And as engineering students, you have to appreciate this interconnectivity. And I talked about compiler and AI, but this is another form of that interconnectivity first. So today, not all of this is not idle talk. Our national sovereignty, our very independence, Swaraj, and our national security, all of these are tied up to this. These more than ever before. See, for about 30, 35 years, 40 years, starting in 91, we were in a kind of this thing that if we lack something, we can trade for it. And we can trade for it. We can always buy it when we need it. If you need a phone, you go to the store and buy it, right? And if you want WhatsApp, you just download it, use it, right? Well, if we don't own those technologies here, those may not be available to us, particularly in an adverse scenario. Why do we have insurance, right, against adverse scenario? It's exactly the same thing now. Now I'll give you a second economic rationale. Okay, this is something, again, it's an economics thing. I want you to, economics is not that complicated once you understand some very simple. This is how I understood it, and from an engineering physics point of view. If you come to my village, if you come to Tenkasi district, well, we go to the store, buy mobile phones. We go to the store, buy in migrate away, you go to some other city and work. Extensive rural migration is happening today, which is why our cities are sort of ballooning in population. It's not because of the kids born here, it's all the people moving in here. Second, people go into debt, they borrow. Third, they sell the remaining small pieces of land. They may have 1 or 2 acres. Every single month I hear this. There's half acre land, I sold it because I have to educate my son, or I have to do this or something or other, or illness, something. So that's sold. And finally, government free money. And why? Because I don't have any way to buy the things I need to buy. So I'm also, all of these 4 forces: migration, debt, selling of assets, and government free money. All of these are the ways that we are somewhat trying to balance the unbalanceable. The problem is difficult, but we are somehow trying to balance today. That's what is happening in rural areas. And you know the solution. In fact, again, physics, engineering students will understand it. To create balance in our economy, we need to diffuse the capabilities to build things. Balance requires diffusion. If you've taken a physics class, you will know this. To create the balance, things have to diffuse. Technology has to diffuse. So that's, now you know the engineering reasons I moved myself there. If I have to play a role in balancing our rural economy, I have to diffuse the technical know-how to all these places. So I'm doing it in a few places, 2 or 3 places now. In Tanjavur district, in Tenkasi district, in Tirunelveli district, like that, 3 or 4. But we have 832 districts. So I want each of you to ask yourself, how are you going to help balance, achieve that balance? For that, you have to diffuse capabilities. Before that, you have to gain those capabilities. Because you cannot diffuse anything if you don't have the capability yourself. So that's first and foremost, as engineering students, your first thing is to gain those capabilities. And you are only going to gain them by doing. In fact, I don't know if professors are here, but I'm going to maybe insult them by saying, approximately your grades don't matter at all. What grades you receive in IIT, any of these, they don't matter. Approximately how well you did in your courses, all of that, or actually as an employer, as a person who's hiring, I simply don't pay attention to any of this today. I don't pay attention to the degree, I don't pay attention to the marks, I don't pay attention to any of this. I pay attention to what can you do. And that is a difficult, how do you assess that, right? So that's why we are looking for work samples. We are looking for, can you finish this project? Can you build this website? Can you build this database? Those kinds of questions. Our own education in our Zoho schools of learning is entirely project-based. There are no exams, there are no grades. Yet our students are hyper-motivated to learn. So that's something that I want to drill into your heads. Keep doing something. Build in your spare time something. It's very easy to go download something and hack Python today. If you want to learn AI, the best thing is go download PyTorch, download Keras, go play with it. No? From your computer you can do this today, all of this. So learn that approach to learning. First you learn to learn. The approach to learning I'm advocating is start doing it. In our sector, software, it's the easiest thing in the world. If you are a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, a little bit harder, not that much harder. With maybe a 10,000, 20,000 rupee budget, you can set yourself up something to hack. Okay? But you want that hacker mindset. You want that maker mindset. Now I'll come to again the business part of it. Traditionally in India, we thought of business as trading, buy and sell. Trading, you buy and you sell. That's what business meant in India. But today, the challenge of business today is making things. We cannot trade our way to prosperity. We can only make our way to prosperity. I want you to sort of remember this. We have to make all these things. So you can see the entire purpose of our company, make more and more and more the everyday things, whether it's email software. Now we are building Aratai. I talked about WhatsApp. We actually have software called Aratai. Aratai in Tamil means chit chat. And we are going to have next 2 months before the end of the year, you will see a campaign all over India on Aratai. That moved to Aratai from WhatsApp. And today, given the mood in India, it's an ideal time. We've been working on it for 5-6 years now, but now is the time to launch. We are also working on things like, Twitter equivalent, all of that now. So all of that, we are in the labs, we are busy because we need all of this today. It's not anymore a nice to have. It's a must have for our national sovereignty, our security, all of this. But one company can only do so much. There is hundreds of things. For example, you go to hospitals, 80-90%, the doctor will know, 90% of the equipment is important. India runs tens of billions of dollars in trade deficit importing. Again, we buy, we don't have much to sell. Repeatedly, if you look at poverty, you will say we buy, we don't have anything to sell. That's what my definition of poverty is, simply that. Because by that definition, Ramana Maharshi was not poor. You know why he was not poor? He didn't need anything. When you are a yogi, when you don't need anything, you are not poor. Right? Only when you have needs, the question of how do I pay for it arises. If you eliminate all needs, you are living on very little, then you are not poor. But I remind myself, the way you achieve fearlessness is to remove that I need this iPhone to be happy. That's a mental conditioning. If you remove that, you are actually become fearless because you will be ready to face whatever comes. And today that's more than ever that's needed because the world is throwing unpredictable challenges. Our IT industry is going through a potential crisis where jobs are getting lost. And the only way to handle this is first, once level government policy, all of that. But there are individuals, we can handle it ourselves. The way I personally tackle it, first I assume I own nothing, I'm worth nothing. Zero. When you achieve that mental state, you are fearless, You are fearless. In fact, Steve Jobs actually exemplified that. He had a minimalist life. There are photographs of, if you see his room, he sits on the floor, there is a small spread and he sits on the floor. He had that very ultra minimalist life. He had always, even when he was inventing the iPhone, all of that, the minimalist life he had embraced. And he actually said in one interview, if you go look it up, he said that the most important thing to realize is we are all going to die one day, and death is the equalizer, right, in a sense. And if I assume that I'm already going to go, then what am I so day to day, why am I so concerned about this or that, I don't have this, all that. That fear goes away. Then you become extremely courageous. How does a warrior face war, right? The conquest of fear of death, that's it. And he said it, the ultimate fear is only fear of death. If you conquer it, you have no other fear. I'm not having this, what will I do tomorrow? All those are fears. And why that's important is entrepreneurship is ultimately about removing that fear. If you do not have fear, you can become a great entrepreneur. Because whether your projects will be immediately successful, whether what you do will be the product will work, the product will be accepted by customer, all of that is not in your hands. But not having the fear is in your hands. And once you achieve that fearlessness, then you will have the gumption, the internal force to try again. And there are famous examples, you read about this all the time, right? 6th attempt, 8th attempt, 10th attempt, people succeed. But the ability to make those attempts is coming from the lack of fear. So it's not the number of attempts, it's the fearlessness that's important. And the only way to conquer fear is to conquer the desire. It will go into spiritual realm at that point. That if I'm not desperately wanting something, then I've conquered fear. And that is the first step to entrepreneurship even. And immediately after that comes lot of times we have to understand why we are entrepreneurs. And a lot of people do this because it's prestigious. Today we have elevated it so that it's prestigious. I'm telling you, prestige is a poor reason to do anything. Prestige is a very bad reason to even to come to IIT. Right? Because if you are after prestige, you will not make true progress in life. In fact, in business, I often tell our people, prestige is the enemy of progress, prestige is the enemy of profit. Because the problems you solve for customer may not be prestigious, but the customer is willing to pay. So that is again another entrepreneurship lesson. Prestige is the enemy of profit. Prestige is the enemy of progress. I hope you internalize this. So first you want the fearlessness, how to conquer that internal fear, and that is what makes you attempt things. And you have to have that optimism, it will somehow work itself out. You know what I tell our employees, all this disruption, AI, and people ask, are we all going to lose our jobs as software engineers due to AI? I tell them, I cannot tell you, it may happen, but tell you, we're not going to starve to death. That you remember, because we produce enough food. We know how to produce food at least. Right? And if that freedom is there, then we're not worried, you know. I said, don't worry about it then. Then we can go on and face the world, whatever it brings. That's what I tell them. Look, we know how to produce food. Our country produces sufficient food, and therefore we are not going to starve to death. That's only a problem of producing enough food. Then the rest, you know, there is a famous dictum, we code for food, you know, in startup circles. That means that the ramen profitability, all that you may have heard. The idea is, the most fundamental need is only food. If you have that, you can invent your way out of trouble, as I say. You can create anything after that, right? If you are able to produce food and you have a food surplus, then you can dedicate part of the time to invent this, try this, all those experiments. As I said, semiconductor is only 700 steps. I mean, it's daunting steps, but 700 steps. If 500 smart people put their head together, they can figure out those 700 steps. That's the attitude you have to have. And you will not, you know, this again, I want to drill this into your head. Zoho, our company, it is built by people remarkably humble. None of them, including myself, 25, 30 years ago, actually thought that we could build all this. But how we built it is basically believing in ourselves, having the fearlessness. I used to say this 25 years, guys, don't worry about it. If we are not going to starve to death, that's what I'll say. We'll figure something out, right? There's always be something else to do. Once you have that, let's attempt it. Some of our software took 3-4 attempts. Good news is we never launched them, so nobody knows that we failed. Right? And sometimes I would say, I remember this 20 years ago, I'll say, we are nobodies. Nobody's going to care if you failed. Say if our business failed, it's not like the Indian Express, the Hindu Times of India, New York Times, all that is not going to say, Zoho failed. No headline will be screaming, right? Then why are you worried? This is what I used to say. Of course, now I cannot launch because we failed. Maybe the newspaper will talk about it. So that's why we try to fail internally first. And again, another thing about, I say, let's not make the same mistake twice. Let's make new kinds of mistakes. Right? Because inevitably that we'll make mistakes. In engineering, technology, anything, will put bugs. Or you will adopt the wrong architecture that may not scale. And I tell our people, it's good that we made this mistake, we have learned. Let's not repeat the same mistake. Let's find new categories of mistakes to make. Right? We learn again from new mistakes. And at some point we become very good actually. So that's why that's also an important attitude, mental attitude. Most of it is not outside of just the technology, all of that. It is also the mental attitude you have to trying all of these ideas. Okay. So now let me finally come to the AI question. It is possible, very possible. In fact, I believe personally, and today's tools are not doing it, but I actually believe software could be made 100 times more productive than today. 100 times. That means that one software engineer could do the job of 100 engineers today. And the analogy I give is, most of the code today is hand-woven. It's like the handloom era of software. The software itself, I've long said, for 25 years I've said, it's a kind of a digital cottage industry, where we are hand-weaving code together. Okay? We are doing it on a computer, but it's still a very handmade product. So it's a kind of a handicraft in a way, right? In that sense. And today, for the first time, we are getting a glimpse of this powerful machine looms. That's what all the AI tools, whether it's ChatGPT, Cloud Code, all of that are doing. They are not, today, let me repeat, they are not doing that good a job yet, and they are not actually reliable software for scale. That means I cannot ship an AI-produced software as accounting software or books or finance software or even your Arata, any of it. You will not be happy with the result, because they will have subtle problems, they will have security problems, they may expose your data to somebody else. Those problems cannot be addressed with today's LLM technology. But those of you who used to know this, they can churn out a lot of code. They can give you thousands of lines of code in like a 5-minute session, 10-minute session. No human can write that kind of code, right? That much code. But today, that's where it is today. But if we combine this with compilers, which is what I'm working on right now, you can get both the reliability and the productivity. Which is where today we are seeing potential for 10x productivity. In fact, I openly tell this to our engineers. I say what we are seeing in our labs, and they ask me, what will happen to our jobs? I said, we'll figure something out, don't worry. But first, understand the potential of this 10x technology. And then you can project it forward in 5 to 10 years, I can see 100x, which means that one of the prediction I have is software prices could go down massively. In fact, all of us, this is true, right? All of us have too many clothes. Is that true? Everybody gives you a gift of a shirt or this or that. And if you're, so many people now, even in India, have a closet full of clothes that maybe they wear once in 6 months or once a year. It was not like this when I was a child. Maybe you'll get one or two, one for Diwali, one for Pongal, that's the entire year, that's all you have to, that's all we had. But today, everybody, even poorer people, you can buy a sari in Kadayam in my village for 150 rupees. So they look even nice looking clothes for 150 rupees, 100 rupees, all that. And watches. You can buy a nice looking watch for 150 rupees, 180 rupees. I was checking them out, even I was stunned. This is going to happen to software. I believe this is what is going to happen to software. Where really good software, running entire companies could be had much cheaper because of this productivity. This 100 times productivity leap. Naturally, that raises the question, what happens to jobs? And this is where, I'm going to tell you, this is where the entrepreneurial human ingenuity comes in. This is not an AI problem. Entrepreneurship is about first, this to me, if the software can do 100 times better job, we should let the AI do this. We cannot control it, but we have to do this. We have to use that tool to produce the software. That's obvious. When a powerful machine we invent that's available, we can use it. But then what do humans do, right? That's the question. Here I am an optimist. And in fact, I want you to imagine, because this is where imagination is required. So what does, for example, take a construction worker, take a school teacher, take a nurse. How many months do they have to work to afford an iPhone? Let's take an iPhone as 1 lakh price, okay, approximately. A school teacher may make 20,000, 25,000 rupees. That means they have to work about 4 to 5 months to afford an iPhone. A construction worker may be similar. A nurse may have to work maybe 8 months to afford an iPhone, right? So you can think of it as, what is my time worth in iPhone units? You can ask me that. That's why I'm not using the currency here. My time as a construction worker, teacher, farmer. A farmer is lower paid. A farmer may have to work maybe almost a year to pay for an iPhone, right? One iPhone to 1 year of time of the farmer. Now I'm going to offer it to you in a technology-enriched world, AI-driven, robot-driven world, this might flip around. There's no fundamental reason a human's time is worth so much in iPhone units. I can imagine a world where maybe 4 days of work for a school teacher will buy an iPhone. 10 days of work as a farmer will afford an iPhone. That is where imagination is. And I say this with our own employees, there is no fundamental reason all our software is available much more affordably. And then in this case, what is more valuable is the human being's time and the human being's attention. That becomes the most valuable commodity. That's where entrepreneurs, all our ingenuity comes in. I tell you what classes of new jobs could arise. I can imagine, for example, I don't call them farmers in our farm. I say you are a soil expert, you are a water expert, you are a plant expert, you are a tree expert, you are an animal expert, you are a livestock expert, you are a milk expert, all of that. So a milk expert could make enough to buy an iPhone in 1 week of wages, 2 weeks of wages, right? And I'll tell you why it is important. No matter what AI, robotics, all that come in, we still have to consume food. We are not going to consume silicon, right? We are not going to consume steel. That is, it's not automatable. And in fact, industrialized food is probably not good for us. If something is coming out of a wrapper, and if something doesn't go bad in a day when you leave it, it's probably not good to put in our body. If something is not good, it's going to stay 1 year without spoiling, that means they've added enough to not make it spoil, and it will spoil our body. That's the truth, okay? This is the truth. That means that we need, and it's my own health as an example. 5-6 years I've moved to a village. I suffered, when I was in IIT, I suffered from horrible asthma, horrible IBS. No exam would I ever eat, because if I eat before an exam, I cannot write the exam properly. My stomach will be all kinds of trouble. So I'll drink water and go to the exam. Only after the exam I'll eat. Through JEE I was like that. And then every 6 months I'll have asthma and I'll have to take antibiotics. This was my state as a student, and then for the next 30 years I struggled with it. In the last 4 years, completely gone, all problems. Fresh food, fresh milk, fresh, clean air, all of this, and exercise, yoga, I do a lot of yoga now, gone. Even I find it hard to believe that I was so dependent on all this. Now I'm completely free of all this. So those to me are fundamental, and those are opportunity. That means that we'll have soil expert, water expert, and plant expert, milk expert, all of this. Those could be jobs. In a trading sense, those could be more valuable than iPhone, software, all of this, because we are automating all this. And this is also, this is known in economics. When one thing becomes highly automated, it becomes very easy to make, like watches, the 200 rupee watches, 150 rupee watches, the relative value of it drops, okay? 200 rupees is, even for a construction worker in Chennai, make more than 1,000 rupees. So they can buy a watch in, maybe 15% of a daily wage. From my childhood, it's impossible to believe, because a watch was such a precious commodity then, right? It would take you 3 months of wages to buy a watch. Today, a construction worker can afford it in 10-15% of daily wage. That's the power of technology, and this is a more reliable watch. It's a precision quartz watch, right? So that's why I'm saying that inversion happens when we automate. And the entirety, remember, the power of AI is to automate things. Automate the software development and automate even sometimes marketing, content creation, all of it. Image generation. For example, increasingly, this is true even in Zoho, we're producing these short videos using AI to explain this product, explain that. So that means that that act of creating that becomes easier. Of course, human supplies the prompt, the message, all that, but the video, and they wait it for, is it the quality video, does it have bugs, all of that they test, but the 1 or 2 minute clip is produced by AI today. So that means that those jobs that depend on it might go, but that's why I tell you, new categories of jobs may arise. And similarly, I look at medicine. To me, some of the most undervalued, devalued people are actually nurses. Because a doctor can say this. The doctor may see you like a few minutes. They perform their job. But it's the nurses who are always mostly with the patient. And that job will get paid better more in future. I am saying this is the kind of rethinking that will happen. Teachers, I actually believe really good teachers will get paid more, because particularly, now I'm not talking about engineering students, professors, all that, that's one level. I'm talking about how do you teach a 5-year-old, 8-year-old. I don't believe AI is going to do a good job. They need all the attention in the world, they need very contextual attention from living people. So one of the things we are doing, We have an extremely good ratio. We only have 6 or 7 kids for a teacher. Because I look at teaching kids, young children, and this both ways, right? Number of children born is lower and lower, which means we have to pay a lot more attention to each kid. Each kid matters a lot more to us now. So teachers are very important. So I can imagine a future where teaching jobs pay well, nursing jobs pay well, and this soil experts, water experts, that's what I call farmers may pay well. Reimagining all of that is about entrepreneurship. So when I talk about AI-driven entrepreneurship, it's not merely just how you invent AI, that's one level, but it's also how you adapt the world to that. How do you receive the benefits of automation? And finally, I'll tell you, if in the limit, if phones are very, completely free, if watches are really free, we are not suffering, watches became free. If phones become free, it's just an instrument. In other words, there's no particular reason a phone-making job is something special and a nursing job is not special. Dealing with human beings to me is more special than making an instrument. So there's no fundamental reason why this job is more special. So that's how you should think as an entrepreneur. It's where the job mix might change, but we'll figure something out. And finally, I'm going to end with this note. All of this, beyond all of this, is the whole, I call it, how do we sustain our culture, our spirituality, all of the foundation we have as a civilization for another 1,000 years, 2,000 years. Those are also, in an economic unit, those are jobs in a sense. We don't think of them as jobs, but they are also jobs, people who are helping us do this. And we are doing this. For example, I like the way I envision circular economy is, we make money from software, whatever technologies, we support Nadaswaram artists, Bharatanatyam, all of these. I tell you, do not forget this. As very young people who are engineering students, you may not appreciate all the value of this. My regret today is, that I did not spend enough time on all this. At that age, I chased grades too much, I regretted it. Actually, true story, one of my very good friends was a President's Gold Medalist, right? And about 3-4 years after PGM is, of course, the most exalted, right? He said he wishes he had never done that. He was no longer interested in any of it. He told me this. He said, I performed like a monkey for society's expectation, professor's expectation, all that. Now I'm going to stop all that. I'm going to focus on what is human, what makes me special, all of that. So he actually moved off that course. And in a way, I tell you, this is the spiritual realization. To me, that part is fundamental. And I'll tell you where that fundamental thing is coming from: climate change, global warming, all that. That's fundamentally we are over-consuming. And we cannot legislate this. We cannot legislate, say, don't consume. But we have to achieve that spiritual inner balance to consume less. And that is equally important, because if we are going to sustain life on this planet, it's not going to come from law, policy, all that. It's going to come from our own self-realization. And that is, to me, a part of the innate part of our thing is, we are all connected. Every atom, every rock, everything is sacred for us. Every tree. It is from that all of God's creation is sacred. That realization is what is most important. That's also, to me, economic activity. Part of the economics we create from automation, AI, all that, also has to make us better humans. And so that is really that's what I want to conclude you with, that thought. Because if we lose that, none of this is worth having. Having 100 iPhones is not going to make me any better. Right? One is enough, right? So that's the thought I want you to conclude with. And thank you for listening, and I'll be open for questions. If you have time, I can take some questions, or else. Yeah. Ready, sir. Mike, yeah.
Yeah. Vanakkam sir, I am Tusharika Jagwani from IIIT Dharwad, BTech CSE student. So my first question is that you had a lot of emphasis upon our ideas and startup. So as a student, as a fresher, how should I start managing my academic life with the mundane ideas I get every time about improving the world? And also as a student, how should I start?
Those are not mundane ideas, those are the important ideas.
Okay.
Your classes are the mundane.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. So, and sir, as a student, how to build network in startup ecosystem?
Yeah. So, first thing is, as a student, one of the first things you want to gain the skills and the capabilities. Those are only going to come from doing. So add something, sir. You are a computer science student, the world is at your fingertips, you can code, you can learn, you can do all that. That's what I would do. Take up one thing, just do it extremely well, polish it. Maybe you hack your own language, do something, build a database, whatever it is, whatever catches your fancy, maybe a WhatsApp killer. Do this in your spare time. And then that itself gives you networking, because you can, maybe your like-minded friends, you can start a project together, and you do that. Then now on the ideas about the world, what I would suggest is similarly like-minded friends, maybe in Think India, all that, go do some volunteering. Teach some poor kids. Those are the other ideas. That way you build both your actual skills, engineering skills, also your living skills, life skills. That's what I would suggest, okay? And the least important part, again, I'm sorry to have to say it, least important part of the grades, you want to just maintain enough to get by, but it's not so important in life. Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Hello. Sir, thank you for a very enlightening session, and we are, my name is Atul Singh, and we are a group of Center of Excellence for Road Safety, and like group of 100 people, and we are soon going to migrate from Microsoft to Zoho.
Thank you.
And just wanted to appreciate the things that you have built. It has amazing UI and UX. Sir, coming to the entrepreneurship part, China's per capita is 4 times more than India's.
Yes.
Right? But even then we see that in the labor-intensive industries, something as simple as toy industry, right? They are able to build at a much cheaper and much effective way.
I'll address this.
Just wanted your thoughts on that.
Actually, we can build it as cheaper. What we have not realized, this is something I spoke to a lot of people knowledgeable in manufacturing. The truth is their salaries today, to give you an idea, a factory technician costs about 4-5 times in China as in India. Land costs more in China. Electricity costs more or at least the same. There's no fundamental reason. What we lack is the investment in the machinery. They use modern machines, we often do not. If we give our workers the modern machinery, we can produce about the same cost, actually lower. There are entrepreneurs I know who are able to, this is something that I have met people, they are building things 50% cheaper than China. So in all of this labor, particularly anything labor intensive, our labor is cheaper, our rural labor is much cheaper, we have more babies, so we have more labor, so we can do it cheaper, believe that. But what we need to put in the hands of the labor is the better machinery. Okay? The attitude is first in the hands of in the minds of the entrepreneurs. Don't get into this defeatist idea about China, that China will beat us in everything. No, it's not true. We can actually hold our own, we can do this. That's what entrepreneurs have to believe. The reason why those ideas came is, we have taken this lazy attitude of we'll only trade. We'll buy in China, we'll sell here. That has been most of the entrepreneurs. If we change the mindset to making, we will realize that we can actually make it and we can make it cheaper, and once we start making it, we will get better and better. Again, initially the defeatist attitude will be, we won't be as good as them. Made in China was a laughing stock 10 years ago. Today, made in China actually is very good quality. You will go through the same pain stages. Ignore that. In fact, a lot of times Zoho has been criticized for, UI is not good, this is not good. We just persevered, we just endured. So now we have actually gotten very good. So the same thing will happen in manufacturing. Yeah, thank you.
Namaskaram, sir.
Namaskaram.
My name is Dr. Arun Janardhan, a silicon architect. I have 450 cows and bulls with me, sir, for raising in Kanchipuram.
Okay.
The complexity of the understanding of the breeds itself, and the microbiome of the soil, it is worrying a lot. The number of details that comes every day with respect to the farming. 1 handfist of soil is having 3 trillion microorganisms. The amount of infrastructure that is necessary, it is sometimes I'm getting very afraid of that.
Yeah, so the soil health is very important. Water, for example, throughout India, our water table is dropping because we are extracting groundwater on a large scale. So what we are doing is, we have taken a resolution, we won't dig deep bore wells, we will rely on surface water, lots of ponds. So during rains, we have to store water, only we have to draw that on for our rest of the year for agriculture. Plus we are going deeper and deeper. In a lot of places, we've gone 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, we get bad water because that's arsenic. And that arsenic is poisonous, we know, carcinogenic for us. So we cannot, surface water is the best. So that's important. So soil microorganism, which is why lot of this automation technology, it should allow us to dedicate our effort to these problems. The livestock health problem. Because the milk we drink, if the cows are not healthy, the buffaloes are not healthy, we are not going to be healthy. If they are injected with all the harmful stuff, they are going to produce milk that contains all of the traces. So that's why all of these problems are important. I agree. We are dedicating some effort to this. Today, the way I see it is, people are able to make it an entrepreneurship, have a responsibility to pay attention to these problems. Soil, water, all that health. Later on, they may also become businesses on their own when the economic structure changes. In fact, I see a world where our software part of the value addition drops, but our milk part of the value addition maybe goes up. So, yeah.
Hello, sir. Sir,
Raise your hand. Yeah.
sir, here.
Who is asking?
In front of-
Okay, thank you.
Sir, what's your state of mind before Zoho got established or succeeded?
As I said, there is, when we were completely unknown, it was actually a good time because nobody cares if we fail, right? There's freedom. So, but now there is a little more responsibility. So it's a little bit, it comes with a burden too.
That's what, sir. Before responsibility, what's your inner motive to go consistent?
We have to solve these problems. So my driving passion at that time is, why aren't we? We have all this talent. We are producing all this software talent. It is so visible when you go to Silicon Valley, everywhere. All of our people are writing all the code. Why aren't we able to produce it in India? That was the burning question. Now we have a very satisfactory answer. We can do all this in India. We have proved ourselves. We have proved to the world. But now we have to do it in every industry. Why can't we build the fabs? Why can't we build the drones? Why can't we build the fighter jets? We can do it. We must do it. Your generation is going to do it. Okay? Yeah. Thank you.
Vanakkam sir, myself Sukrut Tejas from IIIT Dharwad. Sir, a new phenomena called dark factory is coming to light in China.
Lights out factory.
Yeah sir. Should the young entrepreneurs in India implement it, or what's the thought of it?
See, it's all inevitable. The technology is there, the machinery is getting cheaper and cheaper. I'll give you an example. We studied this electric toothbrush, the electric toothbrushes, the motors. Those motors are like our the pencil sharpener, that about size, exactly that same shape. They cost about 10-15 rupees. And there are Chinese machines available that can churn them out like 10-15 per minute. They just come out, they roll out the production line. There's no human in sight. They just do it. We are studying this, maybe bring such a factory in Tenkasi area. We may have few workers, but we can churn out these. These are also good for export because, interestingly, today a lot of global companies are also looking for alternative to China. For two reasons. It's not, the reason may not be what you think. China is running out of people. China no longer has people now, and kids, young workers, enough young workers anymore. Even to staff a factory, a large factory with 5 people, they don't have enough young people. We in India, particularly rural areas, we still have lots of young people, so we can actually gain those factories. But we want to make them competitive. You don't want to make this motor by hand. You want the machinery, and the machinery is available cheap. So it's important, whenever you do, think of the automation, think of cheap ways to automate. The second step, we are also looking at this, how do we make the Chinese machine itself? Initially, we buy the machine. Next step is we have engineers to figure out the machine. Those are jobs. So, yeah, thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
I am Manish Kumar from the Growing India.
Yeah.
Sir, we loved your appreciation and recognition. I am from the village of Bihar. Like, we are the village
Where in
of
Bihar?
IITs.
Where in Bihar?
In Patawatoli, Manpur, Gayaji. You appreciate that our work, like our
Yes.
work.
I've traveled in eastern UP, Purvanchal belt.
No, you appreciate our work. We are the village of IITs. Like,
Okay.
in a village,
Oh, that's one, yeah.
yeah, you know, right?
Okay, I know
So,
that, yeah.
we want to know from you, like, how to implement AI in the rural development of education, right?
Yeah. First step is we need, see, our education system, particularly in the last, if you look at the remote villages, if you look at our poorest citizens, the poorest 50%, this is not poorest 5%, poorest 40%, the education system is extremely poor. We are not endowing these children with enough skills. I get 10th standard passed, and they cannot even write their name in their own mother tongue. I'm not talking about, English or whatever. So, this is first we have to fix that. It's not, and for this, we need committed teachers. Part of the problem today, and this is, I believe it's true in many parts of India, it's definitely true where I am, all the teacher jobs are sold. You pay a bribe to get a teacher job. And that means why would they want to teach? If they paid a bribe to become a teacher, why would they want to teach also, right? You also asked me to teach, I bought this job, why should I teach? This is the state of affairs in a lot of rural schools I see. Poorer children are the victims of this today. So part of, first thing we have to do before AI, all of that comes in our school we don't use technology. First we put human teachers, good teachers, we pay them well, take care of the kids well, ensure that they are learning the foundations. Then come the technological steps, because we first have to reading, writing, arithmetic. And then comes, and you have to be very proficient in your own mother tongue. Then comes the next AI, all those steps. Where it's helpful is, you spark their curiosity, open the world and ask questions. You say, how is this made? Go watch a video. How is this made? Go get the AI to explain it to you in 3 different ways. That's where I'll use AI as a learning tool today for children. And then teaching aids. Small apps can be made that can, the student can operate. But before all that, fundamental literacy, fundamental arithmetic, all of that have to be endowed with the kids. So.
Good morning, sir. So my name is Rishika Pandey from N18 Puducherry. I am doing a BSc BA from Physics. So sir, my question is, as education play a very vital role in developing India, but I see some children suffering from poverty, so they left studies and start doing laboring, and they do child labor. So how can AI will help them to we track them that they are the children and they need to study, because AI plays a very vital role here for jobs and all.
Yeah. So first step, we actually run our school, it is based on NIOS, the National Institute of Open Schooling. The way we are using that system is creative. NIOS allows you to take, for example, just 2 subjects this year, pass them, 2 subjects next year, pass them like that. It doesn't penalize you, it doesn't make you take everything at once and fail. Most important, what the rural kids lack today is self-esteem, self-confidence. And if you fail that kid, you have destroyed them. So most of our children tell us, I don't want to attempt this exam because I will fail. So we want to make them pass by taking just one exam and then next exam like that. So the first key step is you have to remove these barriers, and we say it is okay for you to finish 10th standard by 20-year-old. It's okay. Meanwhile, you can also be earning. So learn while you earn. These are some of the ideas that we are coming. And then once they become a little bit adult learners, AI is very helpful because now they have motivation to learn. If somebody 19-year-old is coming to school, that means they really want to learn. Now we can give them all these tools. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Do I have time? Should I continue? I think we should. Just one last question. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello sir, my name is Rakesh Sharma and I am from Indian Institute of Information Technologies, VCT. I have 2 major questions, sir. One is, how do you differentiate between a team and a company? Like a team, how can a team of group of friends become a company?
Yeah.
And my second question is, I heard Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, say that the teenage youth and all people taking major life decisions using ChatGPT and all. So what do you think about it?
Yeah. So a team, the difference between a team and a company is, are you self-sustaining? Are you able to pay your own way? Then congratulations, you become a company at that point. Then you are growing, and what do you do with additional money that comes in? And maybe your team grows, maybe you set up additional teams, you do more activity. But to me, the definition of company is at some point it's self-sustaining. It's able to pay its own way. That's the key difference. But companies still need teamwork. The idea of team is teamwork. You're able to work with people. That's always critical. There's nothing you do individually in all this, you have to do as a team. The Sam Altman question, today AI in the hands of very young people can also be dangerous because it can misguide you. No, suicides are happening. Yesterday there was a big news about all this, that how US Congress conducted all this. So I'd say it is also parental responsibility to put limits on how they're using it and supervise it. I think there has to be now, in US many states they are passing laws to require age verification before the companies can allow them to use. I'm sure those laws are also needed in India. That some kind of age verification responsibility. See, I don't want a very young child signing up for Zoho and using it themselves without parental knowledge. So that has to be in the law. Some of these have to be passed. It's a government's responsibility law to do this. So thank you very much. I'll really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was an enlightening discussion, and I'm certain that our students have gained a lot from it. Now, I would like to request Sri Muruvaya, CEO of Kadapa University, to please present them with a token of appreciation. It is a portrait of Swami Vivekananda, and inspiration to all students and youth, made with coffee by artists from the region. He wants 4 minutes. Sorry? He wants to talk for 4 minutes.
Sure. You just call him.
So now I will request Professor C. Palanivellu to share some concluding remarks with our students.
Good morning, friends, respected Chief Speaker, and here. I think they are concerned with the timing because our minister is going to come. But as moderator since morning, I listened all entrepreneurs and students of engineering, all a doctor sitting on this stage. I don't know, you would have asked why the doctor sitting here. That's why you ask. How many of you are less than 20 years? Raise your hand. 90%. So I think my purpose is solved here. Dr. Kalam, when President of India, asked me, Palanivellu, your life is interesting, write a biography. I want to take it to children. That book carries all the discussion morning to what we all had Sridhar and talked about business, and you're encouraging, you're talking about China, everything is all. One simple, and you appeal all engineering students, most of you, I think 60% more. And AI is connected to health much more. And today robotic surgery and artificial intelligence together, I have a robot, my own center now for trial basis. When I hold my instrument slightly hold, it says, oh doctor, you are holding tight, relax. So that kind of teaching has come, technology is improving, so quality of surgery is enhanced much more, and also safety increases. And these machines, not from India, still controlling by somebody with America or other countries. The parts are assembled in first time in India, they are given to me. I want you people to put mind and make it in India, and the government of India is making it, gives you enormous support. Kindly come with that. We will be happy to serve the community much better. Sridhar is wanted to do rural from America. I am from studies, so sitting in rural doing together same thing. I don't want to go to America, I want to be here doing it. So simple appeal, all of you request is serving the community is much more better. And this book, I am sure it is in this Amazon available. Please take it A to Z. And 20 all engineering students, I was 9th standard at the age of 20. I finished school at the age of 20, 21st completed, and pre-university course 22nd. That means today Japan is inviting to honor me to say that you made esophageal cancer surgery in Japan, we want to honor you. UK inviting me to operate in UK without degrees to UK to teach them. That is all possible in spite of all these difficulties. Today we won Olympic surgery silver medal in competition across the world for surgery. But I cannot run a sports, I can do only in surgery. Today 60 countries inviting me to operate in their country. That is possible. That means if we go through, entire community will be inspired. That is my purpose of coming to the stage. Sridhar, Membu and me, we are all same goal to do it. We will be happy. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Something is to develop our country, which is to me the job of engineers now. More than anybody else, it is not about the entrepreneurship has to start from a foundation of engineering. That's a topic I'm going to come to too. What is business? We need to rethink. I'm an engineer. I still write code. In fact, I'm deep in the woods of computer. How many of you are computer science students? So you will understand. Actually, on my day, regular job, I'm building compilers now. Compilers, frameworks, tooling, security, all of that. That's most of my own, 80% of my work, still. Because I know one thing, that in software, the foundation of all of this is coming from the technology. It's not our marketing skills, sales skills, all that matters. But the foundation has to be in technology. If we don't have a really good product to sell, no amount of marketing, no amount of salesmanship can help us. So building the technology, building the product is vital. That's the first thing I'm going to say. And I also come to why compilers. I believe the path to the AI is a form of compiler. So for those of you in computer science will understand that too. It's a form of compiler. It takes in English, it gives you some other English. What compilers do is take code and give some other code. So you think about that English as code, prompt engineering, right? Then it is taking in the prompt and it's giving you something. And in fact, you can see in a way of seeing, a programmer way of seeing, a legal document, a contract, everything is actually a form of code. Because it's precisely crafted. There are if, then rules. If this happens, this has to happen, all of that. And the more precise it is, the better it is, because then there's no room for dispute. All of the disputes in the legal disputes happen from poorly worded, ambiguously worded. That ambiguity is also the enemy of computers. The ambiguity is the enemy of programs. So that's why compiler. Why I'm doing compiler is to state things more precisely for AI to understand what we want to state. Even we want to state it in English precisely, we have to understand programming and compilers. So the foundation of what you are learning, the compilers, all that is also important for AI. That's what I want to tell you. But I'll elaborate on this a little bit more. But I'll come to this nail cutter question, because you have to start from foundations. And The reason we don't make the nail cutter is because we don't make the metals, the metal alloys that hold the sharp edge. And we don't make it. India makes about 150 million tons of steel every year. China has about 1 billion. The US is number 3, maybe 70-80 million. So we are actually twice the amount of steel we make in India as the US. Of course, we are a much larger population, so we need a lot more steel. So it's normal. China has about 1 billion. They themselves admit they are making too much of it. They don't need as much. So they are going to reduce the capacity. So India has about 150 million tons of steel, which is a lot. It's good. We need steel. But we are not making the specialty steel. That is the value addition. And the way to understand value addition, I'll give you one simple economic test. What is the price per kilogram of the material and how much the end product price per kilogram? We can normalize it on unit of per kilogram. So I always tell our farmers, we sell rice paddy at 25-30 rupees per kilogram in wholesale, to the wholesale market. What is the phone per kilogram? 1 lakh, 2 lakhs per kilogram. That's value addition. They have added on the phone, the basic material, whether silicon, whatever, we have added so much value. Silicon is just sand. And when you add so much value to it, to come from sand to the silicon in your phone, there may be 700 steps involved. And those 700 steps are how the human ingenuity is playing itself out. That 700 steps, somebody had to discover them, somebody had to master them, somebody has to set up the factories, make the machinery, and make them work precisely, and make it cheap, affordable. That's the engineering challenge ultimately, right? And those 700 or 800 steps involving all the way from sand to the silicon chip. And similarly in steel, if you take raw iron ore, it may only be costing 20-30 rupees per kilogram, 50 rupees per kilogram, something very cheap there. It's just pulled out of the earth and refined a little bit. That's purely mud discharge, nearly 0 rupees per kilogram. You can get it anywhere, right? But when you take this out and process it, you add value. Then you add further value. The specialty steel involved, the steel that is used in construction, your reinforcement bar, all that, maybe 80, 90, 100 rupees, 120 rupees, somewhere in that range. But once you come to these kind of steel, you're talking about 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees per kilogram. That is value addition. And that concept is very important. Prosperity is entirely about what value we are adding over and above what nature gave us. That's the human brain power. Because nature gave us the iron ore, nature gave us silicon. To make it into a chip requires our use of our God-given brains. Nature also gave us brains. We have to use the brain to add that value, right, in the end. So first we have to understand our intelligence before we understand artificial intelligence. So this part, how you add that value, the reason we are not making the rail cutter is you go back to the metallurgy. In the metallurgy we are not actually building all the specialty alloys in India. That's the first problem. Then you go back further, you realize those are the same kind of metallurgy we need for dental instruments. And dental instruments are a lot more expensive than nail cutters. But you need the specialty alloys there. And then you go into more and more specialty, it goes into defense. To have fighter jets, you need alloys. Metallurgy is very critical. So now it comes right straight to national security. To have the fighter jet engine, we need metallurgy. So this is, you see the interconnection. So it starts with the humble question, nail cutter, then you end in fighter jets. So that's how all of this is connected. And as engineering students, you have to appreciate this interconnectivity. And I talked about compiler and AI, but this is another form of that interconnectivity first. So today, all of this is not idle talk. Our national sovereignty, our very independence, Swaraj, and our national security, all of these are tied up to this. These more than ever before. See, for about 30, 35 years, 40 years, starting in 91, we were in a kind of this thing that if we lack something, we can trade for it. And we can trade for it. We can always buy it when we need it. If you need a phone, you go to the store and buy it, right? And if you want WhatsApp, you just download it, use it, right? Well, if we don't own those technologies here, those may not be available to us, particularly in an adverse scenario. Why do we have insurance, right, against adverse scenario? It's exactly the same thing now. Now I'll give you a second economic rationale. Okay, this is something, again, it's an economics thing. I want you to, economics is not that complicated once you understand some very simple. This is how I understood it, and from an engineering physics point of view. If you come to my village, if you come to Tenkasi district, well, we go to the store, buy mobile phones. We go to the store, buy migrate away, you go to some other city and work. Extensive rural migration is happening today, which is why our cities are sort of, ballooning in population. It's not because of the kids born here, it's all the people moving in here. Second, people go into debt, they borrow. Third, they sell their remaining small pieces of land. They may have 1 or 2 acres. Every single month I hear this. There's half-acre land, I sold it because I have to educate my son, or I have to do this or something or other, or illness, something. So that's sold. And finally, government free money. And why? Because I don't have any way to buy the things I need to buy. So I'm also, all of these 4 forces, migration, debt, selling of assets, and government free money. All of these are the ways that we are somewhat trying to balance the unbalanceable. The problem is difficult, but we are somehow trying to balance today. That's what is happening in rural areas. And you know the solution. In fact, again, physics, engineering students will understand it. To create balance in our economy, we need to diffuse the capabilities to build things. Balance requires diffusion. If you've taken a physics class, you will know this. To create the balance, things have to diffuse. Technology has to diffuse. So that's, now you know the engineering reasons I made myself there. If I have to play a role in balancing our rural economy, I have to diffuse the technical know-how to all these places. So I'm doing it in a few places, 2 or 3 places now. In Tanjavur district, in Tenkasi district, in Tirunelveli district, like that, 3 or 4. But we have 832 districts. So I want each of you to ask yourself, how are you going to help balance, achieve that balance? For that, you have to diffuse capabilities. Before that, you have to gain those capabilities. Because you cannot diffuse anything if you don't have the capability yourself. So that's first and foremost, as engineering students, your first thing is to gain those capabilities. And you are only going to gain them by doing. In fact, I don't know if professors are here, but I'm going to maybe insult them by saying, approximately your grades don't matter at all. What grades you receive in IIT, any of these, they don't matter. Approximately how well you did in your courses, all of that, or actually as an employer, as a person who's hiring, I simply don't pay attention to any of this today. I don't pay attention to the degree, I don't pay attention to the marks, I don't pay attention to any of this. I pay attention to what can you do. And that is a difficult, how do you assess that, right? So that's why we are looking for work samples. We are looking for, can you finish this project? Can you build this website? Can you build this database? Those kinds of questions. Our own education in our Zoho schools of learning is entirely project-based. There are no exams, there are no grades. Yet our students are hyper-motivated to learn. So that's something that I want to drill into your heads. Keep doing something. Build in your spare time something. It's very easy to go download something and hack Python today. If you want to learn AI, the best thing is go download PyTorch, download Keras, go play with it. No? From your computer you can do this today, all of this. So learn that approach to learning. First, learn to learn. The approach to learning I'm advocating is start doing it. In our sector, software, it's the easiest thing in the world. If you are a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, a little bit harder, not that much harder. With maybe a 10,000, 20,000 rupee budget, you can set yourself up something to hack. Okay? But you want that hacker mindset. You want that maker mindset. Now I come to again the business part of it. Traditionally in India, we thought of business as trading, buy and sell. Trading, you buy and you sell. That's what business meant in India. But today, the challenge of business today is making things. We cannot trade our way to prosperity. We can only make our way to prosperity. I want you to remember this. We have to make all these things. So you can see the entire purpose of our company, make more and more and more the everyday things, whether it's email software. Now we are building Aratai. I talked about WhatsApp. We actually have software called Aratai. Aratai in Tamil means chit chat. And we are going to have next 2 months before the end of the year, you will see a campaign all over India on Aratai. That move to Aratai from WhatsApp. And today, given the mood in India, it's an ideal time. We have been working on it for 5-6 years now, but now is the time to launch. We are also working on things like, Twitter equivalent, all of that now. So all of that we are in the labs, we are busy because we need all of this today. It's not anymore a nice to have. It's a must have for our national sovereignty, our security, all of this. But one company can only do so much. There is hundreds of things. For example, you go to hospitals, 80-90%, the doctor will know, 90% of the equipment is important. India runs tens of billions of dollars in trade deficit importing. Again, we buy, we don't have much to sell. Repeatedly, if you look at poverty, you will say we buy, we don't have anything to sell. That's what my definition of poverty is, simply that. Because by that definition, Ramana Maharshi was not poor. You know why he was not poor? He didn't need anything. When you are a yogi, when you don't need anything, you are not poor. Right? Only when you have needs, the question of